Greetings, Neuse Little Pod listeners. This is your host, Matt Gore, reminding you to please like, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast on your available podcast apps such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and any other podcast app you can think of. Share our episodes on Facebook and let us know what you think with a comment or review. Now, please enjoy the show. Good evening and welcome to Neuse Little Podcast. This is an audio program talking about the backstage antics and stories of running a small-town community theater on the banks of the Neuse River located in Smithfield, North Carolina. We lovingly refer to the old girl as the Hut. We hope you enjoy. Good evening and welcome to Neuse Little Podcast, folks. We have a very special episode for you this evening. We have done this a total of 50 times. There are 50 episodes available for you to listen to on Neuse Little Podcast, available wherever podcasts are offered, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. This is a kind of a landmark for us, right, Mina? Did you think we'd make it to 50?
No.
It has become kind of an obsession. That's why me and Mita didn't like taking a break in June. We had to take a break in June, but
God, yes.
Yeah, because Mita had too much on her plate as far as canons and directing a show at the end of the season, and and I had a bunch on my plate in my professional life, and we hated taking a break, but it was very essential because it gave us a chance to recharge our batteries, and so we can come back strong in July. We have 3 episodes in July, and we are here today on our 50th episode, someone we haven't heard from since the very first episode. I am happy to welcome back Theressa Rose.
Very happy to be here, Matt. Thank you.
All right, and the man himself, Darius Rose.
Thank you for asking. I'll let you know for sure.
We'll see after the episode airs, right?
Yeah.
We're down. You might have heard a change in sound from our last episode. We are downstairs for this episode because, number one, it is a whole lot cooler and is a little bit more accessible. It was totally worth it just for how cool it was down here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can definitely tell the difference in the sound quality because the ceiling's a lot higher down here.
Yes, we're bouncing off the wall, so just roll with us. Anyways, so now that we have you here, it is our 50th episode, so I really wanted to talk about ideas and notions, whatever you guys. I got the president, vice president, and treasurer here. I want to hear what you guys think, at least your opinion, on what we should or should not, or perhaps could do for our 50th anniversary that's coming up in 2 seasons.
2 seasons, that's right.
Yeah. So we should at least mention it. So Theressa, do you have any particular idea?
I don't have any particular show ideas, but I've been thinking about this a lot since you asked us to be a part of this, and I would really, really like to get the whole community involved in the 50th year, and that could be a way of possibly asking the restaurants to participate in a certain way, maybe the Heritage Center having a display of large photos and programs from the last 50 years of productions, just really involving like the entire, what we would call Main Street, but
right, yeah.
But just getting everyone involved, because it's not just that we love theater. We have brought a lot of positivity to the economy to downtown Smithfield, and to get people more involved in that, I think would be wonderful.
Interesting. So it would be not necessarily just a show, but just a way to involve everybody in the downtown area.
To get everybody involved in the whole season, not just a particular show. I've thought about shows. I would love Victor Victoria on this stage, but I don't know how that would work. That's one of my very favorite musicals that Julie Andrews was in.
Yes, I was trying to think of the lady. Yes, Julie Andrews.
My very favorite soprano ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure how big that is as far as the play production is. That's part of the problem is we really don't have a big stage accessible to us much anymore because I'm not sure if the college is even doing anything out there.
I don't think they're ready at all.
And so if we're going to do something on a big stage and a big musical, you have to have a big stage for it because you got to have big set pieces and lots and lots of people. Wizard of Oz, when we last did it, was 80 people.
Right.
We just can't put 80 people on the stage.
When we did Auntie Mame, there were people hanging from the rafters backstage.
Yeah. Auntie Mame had a lot of people in it. That was a cast of, and even Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia was at its limit, too, of the amount of people we could put on the stage.
I think there were 28 in Mamma Mia. which is, I think, a record for adults on stage.
What about Medford? Medford had a lot of people too.
I don't remember. how
Welcome to
many were in
Medford?
Welcome to
Yeah.
Medford had a lot of people involved as well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, that if we want to do some great splashy musical, you're really limited
Exactly.
to what you can do on this stage.
We'd have to find out what about, okay, I'm just throwing this out here. What about the Clayton Center? Have we ever looked into that, or is it prohibitively expensive?
I think it's probably out of our price range. When we did stuff at the college, I think we had a deal with them that, because we were a community theater and they did community outreach type stuff, that I think we got. I think there was a period of time where we split the proceeds.
We did.
Half the house.
Yeah, and things like that. But I don't know what they would be open. I don't even know what it would cost us to go out to the college at this point. Because now that they've done all the renovations, I don't know what they're.
At that point, it would have been over 10 years since we had been there.
Exactly.
We were last there in 2013 with the Music Man, if I'm
Yep.
not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So that kind of does put a kind of a trajectory on the whole thing. What do you think, Darius?
Well, I agree with her on that. It's just going, no matter where we go, it's going to be extremely expensive if we do it away from our stage. Even paying our royalties, they've doubled over the past 4 years. All the royalties have, and all the scripts have doubled in price. You wouldn't believe the money we have spent this year
Yeah.
alone, and I'm still not finished. I have $1,000 insurance policy premium to pay, which is coming up in August. And I told Theresa the other night, I said, I'm beginning to panic. But we've also are just beginning to get memberships in, so
Right.
that's going to offset a lot of that. And they're ones that finance our utilities, our working money.
Right.
Yeah, day-to-day stuff.
Because Joyce helps with writing grants, and thank God, I hope that keeps up. We can need that grant money. And that she'd always, we've split it up between the shows, how much each show will get accordingly. So,
But we still couldn't do it without the membership.
No.
Membership is what makes us be able to be comfortable while watching a show.
Indeed.
Whether that's warmth or AC.
That's one of the things that bothered me about the COVID deal, and we were closed. I thought we're going to lose members galore, but
Right.
we didn't. They started coming back, and people would come up there. I'd never seen them before.
We had a lot of new people come out too. So I've seen a lot of new faces since the shutdown.
We've had a lot more people. I mean, if you look at if you were to look at the cannons this past year, there was a lot of people there that I didn't know, but that's a good thing.
Oh yeah,
because that shows that we're growing, and that shows that people are starting to come back. And it really felt like this year. I'm like, okay, people are starting to come back. And I'll say it, Outsiders was very helpful on that. That was like a big chunk of money that came in.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so that was very helpful. And
Yeah. Well, and the way I've looked at this season, it's like by the time the season was over, I was just like, it feels like I've run a marathon, like a full Ironman marathon, trying to, this whole season. And I think it's just because we weren't doing anything for so long, and everything that got postponed during the pandemic shutdown now is being rescheduled and got rescheduled. So people had other commitments, and it just came down to, it felt like it was so much harder to do it than I remember it being when we were doing.
You said, I think I've forgotten how to do some of these things.
It's like things that were second nature, things that just sort of happen. Now you're like, I have to think about doing that now, because I would just, I would remember it and go, oh yeah, we got to do that. Now I'm like, oh, I forgot that. We do have to do that, don't we? But, and I'm hoping that now that we've gotten this first one under our belt, the next one will be a little easier. We'll have a little easier time doing it. It's
Hopefully, yes.
yeah, it was just hard to get back going after everything had just shut down for so long. It was just hard to get the train back on the tracks again.
Right.
And the concern about trying to work so hard to make sure that people were coming back.
Yeah.
And thinking that, what if they don't? I have to work that much harder to get the word out there about we are back on track, and we are running productions, and we are open, and we're ready to go.
Indeed. We've got 5 more coming up this season that we're very excited about. In a future episode, we will detail those synopsis and the show dates for all those shows. But suffice to say, we've got a very exciting season coming up for you in the 48th. But I digress. Back to the 50th, just before we I want to hear Mita's thoughts on
This is like what we were doing upstairs.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Like it was
I am making a concerted effort to make sure our podcast was more on point than episode 49.
It was very ADD.
Because the heat was frying our brains, Mita.
Sure.
We had heat exhaustion. It was literally like 85, 90 degrees up there.
I do want to say that
yeah.
I think the season should be joyful. I think there should be a lot, I love Flung and those shows that we do that are
Right.
deep and dramatic, but I think we should focus on the joy of actually having
So we're talking
a little
Phantom of the
theater.
Opera, Hamlet,
Les Miserables.
Les Mis. We're gonna have some Equus up in there. Oh, Sean will love that. So no,
Sean
I know
wants
what you
to-
mean.
Sean
I know.
wants to do Equus Thematic and
And
taste
joyful
it.
doesn't mean necessarily light and airy. There are a lot of wonderful plays that are deep, but also joyful.
Right. Yeah.
How about what you were telling me about, Mita? How about Come From Away?
It's not available yet. I don't know if it'll be
I thought
available.
it was.
MTI actually has the rights for it, so they do have it on their website, but it is not open for royalties.
Well, maybe in the
yet.
next 2 years it will.
It would be a really fun show.
I
to
think we
do.
could do it here too.
Oh
a
yeah, we
beautiful
could
story.
definitely
Do you
do
know
it
what
here.
Come From's Away about? Well, tell us briefly what Come From's Away. Come From Away. excuse
Come
me.
From Away is about the little hamlet, basically in Newfoundland, Canada, that took in 7,000 passengers on 9/11
Okay.
as they were coming because all the planes were grounded. And basically doubled their population, and they brought them in, took them in, and everybody. It's like 12 people, 12 chairs, like a whole bunch of props, and everybody plays both a plain person, at least one plain person, and a Newfoundlander.
Yeah.
And they change right in the middle of the scene depending on who they're talking to. It goes back and forth, but the music is fantastic.
Is
It's
it?
beautiful.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. It's you think I was piggybacking on that joke about joyful 9/11, but no, it is actually a very
It is.
fun, uplifting, joyful musical.
And it's beautiful. It's like, and it's the fact that this musical was written on the 10th anniversary, I think, of 9/11. They wrote it several years after 9/11, but they premiered it in Gander, Newfoundland, on the 10th anniversary, I believe, if I'm correct in that. But Come From Away is the Newfoundland term for people who don't live there, because you're a come from away if you don't live in Newfoundland.
Okay.
because it's basically just a town and a giant airport.
They used to be a major airport back when, in the 40s and 50s, when you were making a transatlantic flight. Once you got
Oh, they had to be the
you had to
stopover.
stop and refuel. And now that planes go back and forth all the time, and they have bigger planes, bigger whatever, they maybe got a dozen planes, little like Johnson County Airport basically. And then what they ended up with was 38 planes with over 7,000 people.
So Darius, what would you, in your opinion, would you like to see the 50th anniversary consist of? And that could be a show, that could be themes, or just things you want to
Teresa and I
do.
talked about this as well. She mentioned something about a musical or a, what did we call it? You do one thing behind the
Like
other.
a review.
A review. And I said, no. I remember when we did the 25th, and it
Yep.
was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, the 20th. There was a
20th.
15th and a 20th. And the 20th apparently was, 3 hours long?
Oh, Jesus. Yes.
That was before my time. What happened?
Me too.
Well, we had a person who had promised to write the script for a year. And when come time for auditions, there wasn't a script. So 3 of us got together on a weekend and wrote a script. And Bobby Cox, much as I love him, but bless his heart and rest his pieces, because he died a few years ago. He very verbose and would, continue something, and I loved it because it was a good show, but it was too much. You had clips from musicals, not clips per se, but scenes.
There was there were slideshow. So I bet they went through every single show for
Yeah.
20 years. And there was a scene for some of the shows. There was music from almost every musical. And yeah, it was excessive.
Yeah, it was excessive, and I thought, God, if I was not a member of this, I would walk out and go home.
This is too long.
It's just too damn long. So
I'm with you. I think theater
It was 2 VHS tapes.
Wow. So it's like a double tape. It's like the Deer Hunter or something.
Well, it's like the 15th year we did the ice cream social.
Yeah, you did that
down
out
here.
and mosquitoes apparently were
At the
bad.
amphitheater.
Oh,
Never
no.
gotten over that one, and because I still have the scars, and everyone else who was in that show. But I hate outside.
Those that
any
survived
kind of
malaria.
Huh?
I said those that survived malaria.
True.
Everyone was sick of the scent, Skin So Soft,
Oh my
because
God,
everyone
yeah.
was wearing that.
And you couldn't touch anyone because you just slide.
Yeah, your ice cream melts in 4 seconds.
A good crowd for that, but it was just miserable.
Yeah,
you know, so.
too hot.
But I think a review type thing it sounds nice if you could get something and well written and short enough that most people wouldn't go to sleep. And I do not see. I've never understood doing a scene from one show, like To Kill a Mockingbird, or from this and that and the other, Inherit the Wind, and then go right into a musical for thing and sing a complete song from that musical.
Right.
That's what was wrong with that one. You know, we were doing everything we could do to.
There was no through line.
No,
Yeah.
no, and it just was. Had 3 or 4 people who narrated, and that was sleepy.
When you have one weekend, you have one weekend to write. There's no time to really edit.
Wow.
No, there wasn't.
You're just
and-
going through the list, going, we
Yeah.
can do this from here. And this from
How about
here, and
this?
from here.
But if I were to consider a show that we've done in the past at all, that would be would like everyone would like. I think the closest thing to it would be a Little Shop of Horrors.
Interesting. I had heard someone else talk about that too. Um,
It would, and then that would work on our stage.
Yeah,
yeah, and when you guys originally did it, it was Tony playing Seymour, and we had the guy on who played. Oh, Fred was the puppet. Not Fred.
Bill.
Oh, Bill was the puppet.
Bill was the puppet.
And yeah, and I've heard somebody mention that in the last couple of weeks here at the Hut that would be a good one to do. And yeah, it hasn't. That's one of those musicals that someone's always going to be doing it, you know. But I think it fits. It is. If you do it right,
It's joyful.
it is joyful. If you do it right,
Right up to the end.
just right up until the last part. But that little macabre kind of twist kind of fits our brand a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah. It ain't all about the light and, you know, pixie dust and fairy tales all the time. We got to have some darkness in there to balance it out.
You do.
And I would say go back to the original, but I don't know it. So I don't know if anybody else would either.
The original of what?
The
Peter?
play itself.
Like the play, yeah. Was it the
Not the
Thurber
musical, you mean?
Carnival? The Thurber Carnival, is that the one?
Thurber Carnival was
Was
one
that
of the
their
first
very
ones.
first one?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I think so. I don't
Yes.
know enough about it.
I don't either.
But-
And I don't think anyone else.
It was at
Has
the
it aged well?
It was at the library, and probably had 10 women there, and that was about it at Mary George. So other than that, this
Yeah,
don't know a lot about
I
it.
don't know enough about it to tell you whether, I mean, and nobody else would know it. So it's like, you could go, well, we want to do the original, the very first show the Neuse Theater ever did. And it's like, I don't think anybody knows it well enough to do it.
Yeah, and I believe your friend,
Myra Wallace, you're
Myra Wallace.
Myra
yes.
Wallace, yes.
She could tell you all about those first ones, man, because they were literally
Yeah.
they were taught in school.
Yeah.
So I never heard of them anyway.
I think the second one she said that Neuse Little Theater did was the Miss Firecracker contest, which is a Neil Simon play. I think it's a Neil Simon play.
And I've actually seen that done. Ron Little Theater did that one.
Yeah, a couple of years ago they did.
And it's,
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I don't think I think there's a reason it's not mentioned. Miss. There was a movie with what's her name?
Sissy Spacek.
Yeah, I think it was her. Anyways,
I think she's the one who played in that part. I vaguely think that's it.
but as far as I don't know, I like the idea of doing stuff we've done before, like it doesn't have to be the first or the second or the 100th, whatever, but shows that have done well that we've done before, but not like for like the 5th or 6th time, like
Right.
Well, you could research which shows did you have to add another matinee to, or
Yeah.
another 2 shows to.
which shows made the most money.
There you go. Let's do those.
Yeah, Miss Firecracker contest is a Beth Henley. So it's like Crimes in the Heart.
Yes, right. Apologies to both Beth Henley and Neil Simon.
We can't go back and do the early musicals because they're too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the room for them. We don't have the
Yeah,
room
we
for an
can't-
orchestra, first
We can't
of all.
do Carousel because
Or
where are we going to do it?
Oklahoma or
Or
South
Showboat.
Pacific, King and I, all those are out because you need
The only thing I can think of is if we could find a school that had an auditorium that would let us do it. But I don't
Well,
know.
Triple S let us use it for Showboat once.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other time we did Showboat was at the college. So that's the one where that man directed, and I don't know who it was. He ordered every drop he could think of.
Oh, wow.
We owe
Drop of what?
The backdrop.
backdrops. And you just couldn't believe what the money that we owed for that.
Hemorrhaging money.
For what show?
Showboat.
Oh, okay.
The second time around.
Yeah.
And,
There's a lot of money wrapped up in a backdrop.
oh, child, tell me.
I know. I'm just talking about renting them. I mean, to own it, it's way more. But,
Well, and we just rented.
right.
And then it took us 2 years to catch up
Oh, no.
on the money deal. So
Yeah.
that kind of thing, we can't afford it, and we don't have the space.
Well, and we did, when I first started with the theater in 1998, we did 4 shows. We did 3 like adult shows, and then we did a what they called the kids show, which was the Christmas show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in December, the very first couple of weekends of December, and it was nothing but those who were under 18. And we had a hard time getting teenagers, so they typically were like 13 and under. But when I did when we got air conditioning, we decided we didn't have to do December. We could do a summer show. And they were like, it's too damn hot to do a summer show.
It is, to be honest. It will be tough.
But that when I did my first show, it was the first, when I directed I Never Saw Another Butterfly in 2001, I believe. That was the first season with 5 shows. And then we decided we shifted everything, so we started in the fall rather than trying to do a summer show.
And now that we do the children's show and added it to our season, we're doing 6.
Yeah, if you count
summer camp.
camp. Yeah.
Summer camp.
Because we have to count that.
Yeah, now we do, because we've decided to take over
Oh,
the
yeah.
running of it, yeah.
So and she made money on
And
this show.
I think it works better the way we're doing it now. So
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, we any final thoughts on that particular topic before I move on to something else?
I honestly, we're open if anybody has any suggestions. Just remember, it's got to be on a 16 by 33 size stage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With very minimal scene changes, really, because there's only so much we can do on this set.
Right.
And we're always open to suggestions from anyone in the membership or if anyone who listens to the podcast that's not local that just has ideas. We're open to that.
And I promise we do listen to you. You just have
Yeah.
to remind us, because catching one of the board members in the box office or during a show or whatever, we're not going to remember more than 5 minutes. Just email us. Email us and it's more likely we'll remember.
Facebook message, something.
Give them an
Something.
email, they can send it to me.
NeuseLittleTheater@gmail.com.
For now, just go to nooselittletheater@gmail.com if you have any suggestions for the podcast. Because guess what, folks? The amount of Neuse Little Theater information, trivia, backstory is finite. And we're kind of approaching that crest now where I'm just like, okay, I think we've covered the backstory. You know, I don't think we can talk about Wizard of Oz again. So if you have a suggestion for us, please send it there, and we'll read it at least.
Teresa will. She runs the email.
Yes, indeed. You could just forward it, and then I'll read it maybe if I'm in a good mood. We'll see. I'm just kidding.
Say, Matt, read this.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
And please, do not consider 1940s radio.
Oh, please, no.
No more.
We've done 1940s radio 3 times. And we did the Christmas Carol. I think we're done with 1940s radio.
Yes.
We totally explored that.
Yes, we have said all we need to say. I mean, we've.
The music is great.
It's a wonderful show.
Pre-show that sucks.
Well, we did it in 90, 94, 2004.
In the year I met you.
2004.
Yeah. So every decade or so.
Oh yeah. No.
We did sort of like start, like, I think it was it's like one of those sequences where it gets more and more. So you're like 90, 94, 2004, maybe 2304.
Yeah. 2034 is.
Yes, we'll revisit the
We'll
idea.
revisit 1940s. No, make it even better. Make it 2040 so we can do it like the 100-year
There you
anniversary.
go. Well, that would be 43, but
Well, y'all enjoy.
What?
that's all right. Your head's gonna be in cryologically
No, we're
frozen in a box.
we're just gonna put you like Nixon's head. We're just gonna have you in there. Like, Darius, what should we do? And he's like, you're blocking the TV. Move.
It's gonna be
Do
like
I
a
need to go
magic.
ahead and start having my head made?
No.
Okay.
We've got it all worked out.
It's gonna be
Greg rigged up something in his shop.
No doubt.
And it's gonna be like a magic 8-ball when we want to answer. We'll just shake it really hard.
Yeah, that would be nice. I like that.
Darius, what should we do?
Throw candy at them and say, "There's your damn candy."
That's still my favorite story.
What story?
Darius and the Halloween with the kids during Cat on the Hot Tin Roof.
First one.
Yeah.
All right. What? Is there trick-or-treaters
There
in Tennessee Williams' Cat on a Hot Tin Roof? Is
They
there?
performed it around Halloween,
Okay.
and there are children in it who apparently were not very well behaved
Off stage or on?
either,
Okay. All right.
and they were miffed that they had to miss Halloween trick or treating.
What? Come on.
He brought them some candy.
So you did?
Oh, yeah. I brought some candy.
So you just kind of like, here.
And he
I threw it at them.
chucked it in their head.
It's all like peppermint candy that you get from grandma.
The hard stuff, right?
It's what are those terrible like elephant's foot, the peanuts,
Circus peanuts.
2 bags for you guys. All right, stop bitching.
No, the story I was told was he basically had these little bags of candy and he flung it at him and told him, "There's your damn candy."
Yeah, here's your damn candy. I can so see it. I can see it in my mind.
I wasn't even there, and I feel like I know.
Nice.
Darius and children in shows don't mix usually very well.
No. I was surprised I mixed well with them the last time.
For the last part of our conversation today, I wanted to piggyback on that because I'm glad you brought up Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. I might have accidentally said something last summer, but it's Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. That was your last play, right?
Yes.
You played Big Daddy.
Yes.
And it was kind of at the time viewed as kind of like, okay, a swan song for you almost in a way, quote unquote.
Sort of. Yeah.
Okay, but if there was another play that came along one day that was right, would you do it? I know there's physical limitations, but let's say it's a part where you wouldn't have to move much. Would you do it? There was a play I had. The reason I bring it, I'll tell you why.
Yes, I'm handicapped, damn it.
No.
Can you play ahead in a box?
Yeah.
I can play ahead in the box, yeah.
When we do the Man Who Come to Dinner revival in 2050, we're just going to wheel out Darius's head in the.
Like a Futurama episode?
Yeah, it's like a Futurama. Richard Nixon on Futurama.
I don't know, I guess whatever you would decide or whatever you could have in mind would be interesting.
There was something I had in mind. But this, I view this purely from a standpoint of I would like to see it done. I don't necessarily want to do it.
Right.
I think let me explain. So there's this play called The Father. Do you know? It was a movie with Anthony Hopkins recently. Do you know it?
I'm aware of
Yes.
it. I don't know that I've seen it. I'm not sure I see so many movies in a week.
Well, I'll explain it to you. It's
I
got
was
a
gonna
very,
say, you should get Darius to be on your movie blog or
I know.
movie podcast instead of me because he watches movies. I see.
You're actually the TCM watchers. We do our old movie podcast. But no, this movie came out a couple of years ago called The Father, and it is a very interesting script. It was based on a play, and the play is very good as well. And the play and the movie are about this older man who's starting to lose his faculties a little bit, and his daughter takes care of him. But she has a boyfriend, and she's like 40, 50, you know. She kind of wants to like go out there and live the rest of her life before she becomes old, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, I want to go marry this guy, and maybe we should put you somewhere. And of course, he's adamantly against that. This so far the play sounds kind of normal. I'm like, okay, I've seen this. This is like a Lifetime movie. I've seen this before. Old guy doesn't want to leave. His daughter wants to go live life. And yeah, I get it. But here's where the play takes a brilliant dramatic turn. So the next scene, they've had a fight because he doesn't want to go to the rest home, and she's mad at him, so she leaves. And so next scene, he's going in the kitchen to get him some coffee or some tea or something, and he goes back into his living room, and there's a man sitting there. He'd never seen this man before in his life. He doesn't know who this man is. Who the hell is this in my house? And the man says, "Oh, you invited me here. Don't you remember?" And so the character, as well as the audience, is confused.
Yeah.
And it's kind of scary because you're like, whoa. You see somebody in your house that you didn't invite there. It's kind of a scary thing. But he's not being a great. He's just there reading a magazine. Like, your daughter, you remember we talked about this? Your daughter said I should come over around this time and help you with your meds. He's like, I don't know who you are. Get the hell out of here. And so as the play goes on, you see that this guy is slowly losing he's getting dementia. And he's slowly, and the audience themselves are taking that journey along with him.
Right.
And so his daughter in another scene is played by an entirely different actress.
Really?
Because he forgets what she looks like.
Oh,
And so
wow.
the audience along with him forgets what she looks like.
Oh, wow. That's
So she's like, "No, I'm your daughter. Don't you remember? I was here the other day. I'm your daughter. My name is so and so." And he's like, "I don't know who you are." And so as the play goes on, we get very, it is emotional. It would probably be very emotionally taxing for anybody to do it. But I don't know. I'm just saying that'd be a very interesting piece. And and you got a lot of. I know you like to be fatalistic, and I know when I get old, I'm going to be fatalistic as hell too. If I ever make it there, I'm going to be like you. I will be. I just know because that's how my personality is also.
Right.
But this play, I don't know, and I think the reason why I said I don't even want to direct it. I think Tony should direct it because I think that a piece that delicate would require the most delicate hands we have. Mm-hmm. And he has them. So I don't know if I could convince Tony to do it and get y'all to take a look at it. I don't know. It's just something I'd like to see happen. Yeah, we should do the play period, but you should take a look at it. Is what I'm saying.
I'll have to read it.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you a copy then.
All right.
I'm going to bring you a copy.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah. That's really interesting.
They are doing. If you want to, I know you don't like getting out of the house, and I'm 35. I don't like getting out of the house either. But if you want to, they're doing it in a theater in the park in Raleigh. Our David the Wood III is doing it. And it is. I'm not gonna lie. It is very emotional. When me and Tamara watched the movie, at the last scene, we just sat and cried.
Yeah.
But you'd have them, boy. You'd get them. You'd get them in the palm of your hand. You'd have them eating out of the pot. I can just see it now. I'm just saying. I can see it. Anyways, so I wanted to run that by you,
All right.
just to throw that out there. And
Tony gave me a play something like 5-6 years ago that was about Smoking Summer or something.
Tennessee Williams.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, that one. A place by him, and what he's doing is it's just Tennessee Williams on stage with about 25 packs of cigarettes and a lot of liquor, and he continuously talks the whole time. I read the script and I loved it, and I thought, I don't think I ever remember all this, but it was great. It was good.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Al Pacino did this show on Broadway.
Really?
Yeah. It's basically him in the latter part of his life, reminiscing about his life's work and stuff like that. Right. And one or two male callers comes in. I think they do. I think they do actually. But that's Tennessee Williams for you. No, one of America's greatest writers. But it's interesting to think about. Whatever the last time you're on stage and stuff like that. It's just. I'm fatalistic like you. I'm only 35, and I do think about that type of stuff. Like, what'll be my last one? What kind of legacy will I leave behind, and all that stuff.
Well, I just had reached the point with Kat, my second time around, but as Big Daddy, which is what I wanted to begin with, but I was too young for it. I played Gooper, and I thought, well, I remember the lines. Thank you, Jesus, and I got along well with Big Mama, who was a jewel to work
she was
with.
great.
Erica's great.
Erica in action.
Yes. And I got to have my wife pregnant by somebody else.
Add some context to that, please. She played your daughter.
Yes.
Yeah,
I played sister
daughter-in-law.
wife.
Right.
Yeah, daughter-in-law, sister wife. Yes.
Sister wife, yeah. But I think when I finished that, I was exhausted for one thing, and I thought I was proud of the work. I thought we did a good job. I thought we did a good job.
You did. I love it when we do Tennessee Williams Way. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but if I had a suggestion to make, I was like, well, let's look at the only play done Streetcar in a long. I know we've done it way back in the day. But we haven't done Streetcar in a long time.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was right after
78.
Carousel.
I think another look at that play might be worth discussing at least. But you know, a lot of his work is timeless. You know, Glass Menagerie is also. We might have not even. I don't think we've ever even done Glass
Yeah,
Menagerie.
we have.
We
I
have?
was Tom.
Oh, you were Tom? Lucky you. I always wanted to be Tom. Now I think I'm too old to be Tom.
I was Tom, and I got to smoke.
Yeah.
On stage. Loved it.
Yep. What kind of cigarettes did you smoke on stage? Do you remember?
I always smoke menthol, man.
Cools.
Salem, cool. Kent. I don't care. As long as it had that mint.
One of the good things about Tennessee Williams, it tends to be a unit set, so you don't
Yeah.
have to worry about scene changes and
Yeah.
going from place to
Yeah.
place. It really is just sort of a one setting kind of a show.
And his characters they're not timeless. There's a lot of characters in Tennessee Williams that are dated, but there's a lot that are not. There are some that are timeless. They're not that many, but they're out there. There are Blanche Dubois left in the world.
I was gonna say, but I think the
And you probably know one or two.
I think the sentiment is timeless.
Yeah.
The story is timeless. The characters maybe not so much, but the actual underlying story that's trying to be
Right.
told, I think, is pretty much timeless.
And you've got to understand it. You got to understand how he does this. That we did one. I'm not going to name it, but we did one here semi recently. It wasn't Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, but where the guy just didn't get the main character. I'm just like, you got to get this main character.
Yeah.
You know, you have to understand that this guy is not a good person. You're not going to convince the audience to like you. You have to roll with it and find some redemption. You can't start out good. Anyways,
Right.
it's complicated.
Well, and quite honestly, from what I know, I mean, I'm not a big Tennessee Williams aficionado or anything, but none of his characters are very good people.
No.
I mean, they're all pretty much flawed, nasty people.
Look at Cat. Big Daddy's an asshole.
He is.
And Gooper's worse.
They're all
Rick's
terrible.
a drunk. So,
None of them are really redeemable at all. I mean, they're just pretty much horrible, horrible people.
Blanche is kind of redeemable. I
She's a
feel.
wackadoo, though.
And she just kind of goes crazy near the end.
yeah, and sort of feel sorry for her, you know.
Oh God, yeah.
She was put upon by many, according to the book.
There's a whole 3 or 4 other plays of her life before she got to New Orleans. They're not in real life. I'm just saying there's stories.
Gotcha.
There's-
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
whole.
Well,
All right.
there's a reason why she is the way she is. So that she definitely has a backstory that you have to take
Right.
into account for her to be the person that she is. So
I just don't know who we get him to do Stanley and take their shirt off on stage. I guess you don't have to be shirtless.
well,
if
wife
what?
beater.
if the guy who was in ours, he directed it. He was one of the artists in residence, Clint McCowan.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where he is, so it makes no difference. But he skinny as a rail.
Uh-huh.
Then he didn't care. Took his shirt off and he played that part.
Well, did it work? Was he
It
able?
took me a while to adjust because I was so used to the movie. You know,
Because if you don't get the bodge, you got to bring it with the personality.
this is true, and he did it. He did
Okay.
it. And my ex-wife was Stella.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
she was in that show, and she was in Christmas Carol, and that was about it.
All right, so there's this amphitheater that's going up right next to us, and we finally seen some definitive plans on it. What do you guys think about it? Because you guys are closer to it. You guys live closer in the area than I do. The plans look interesting, but I don't know how they're not gonna at least bump up against us or something. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're planning on trying to sort of tie in the walkway with us, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I know that they're planning on replacing those crazy stairs beside our building.
Yeah, they need to
with-
go. They're death traps.
Yeah.
They are
A
that.
much more accessible way of getting to one place to the other.
Yeah, and it'll be really neat. I don't know what I know that they've got the concerts down there and stuff like that. I'm just not sure how big they're planning on doing stuff down there. Because right now it's pretty much occasionally a wedding and the Ham and Yam concert, and sometimes a group comes in and rents it out to do a concert or a show. But it's very rarely used, so I don't know what they're thinking. If they're going to pour that much money into it, surely they're thinking they're going to open it up to do more kind
Like
of
a summer series of concerts.
something. Yeah, I can't imagine that they would just renovate it just to sit there.
Summertime would be a great time for us because we're dark.
Right.
But it just looked close in proximity to the hut. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
a lot of construction.
Yeah, they're going to be putting in new walkways, some cobblestone type areas, some places. They're actually going to put in some places on each level so that wheelchairs can be there. They're going to try and make it a lot more wheelchair accessible. Because right now,
It is, but it takes forever.
well, I mean, it's all dirt and retaining wall, so there's really nowhere. I mean, or the road, and you'll scoot down it in a hurry if you try and park your wheelchair on it. So yeah, they're talking about trying to make some flat areas and some paved with like pavers and things, so it looks nice, but it also is a flat space for people to put chairs and things on it. They don't go speeding into the river.
It looks like, according to the diagram that I saw, that they're putting a lot of greenery, shrubbery, or trees along here. If they do that, that would help with this sound, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm always for more shade anywhere. So.
Oh, I am too, buddy.
If it brings more people downtown, the more visibility we would receive would be a good thing.
Yeah.
And with as many people are moving to Johnston County, we've got to plan ahead for that as well. I mean, we've got lots of opportunity to get more people acting in the shows, coming to see the shows.
Yeah. All right. We're going to stop there, folks. I thank you guys for coming in and joining us this evening. Thank you, Theresa.
Appreciate you inviting us. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Darius.
By all means.
We'll be in touch. But it's really nice to have you guys on the podcast again. You were our first guest, and now you're our 50th guest. Well, actually, not quite, but we'll say that just for posterity's sake.
50th podcast.
50th podcast. So we thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it out there in the radio listening land. I am Matt Gore. That's my producer, Toole.
So.
We'll see you later. All right. Credits for the show. Your host and creator is Matt Gore. That's me. My producer and editor is Toole.
That's me.
Music is by Cody Walker. Please go look up Cody on Cody Walker Music on YouTube, and he's also on Cody Walker Music on Facebook as well. He's local, so and he's got a couple of albums out. Easy listening, John Denver type of guitar voice. That Cody Walker. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.